All right, today I checked out something called the Hyundai Motor Studio, and it's basically like a display of the most recent cars that Hyundai makes. It's not a dealer, although I do believe they sell cars, but it's more like a Apple store for cars, right? So everything's fully turned on, not like the dealers where you could actually check out all the features. In this video, I'll give you a tour of the motor studio and discuss some of the cars, Korean cars that I've owned, and take a look at the Sonata really quickly. First of all, though, let me just say that I never thought that Hyundai would get this big. I thought they would just die off like Mitsubishi or Suzuki, right? I know they're still around, but they're small potatoes, right? But Hyundai is actually like one of the largest car manufacturers in the world, right? Which is ridiculous, right? I remember they used to look like off-brand Hondas, but now, I mean, look at them now. Check out the Genesis. I mean, that car is awesome. I mean, if somebody had, said that I would have owned a Hyundai, or not even one, but multiple Hyundais like 20 years ago, I would have laughed, right? I would never have bought Hyundais, but look at them now. I mean, there's even crazy fanboys with the Hyundais now, right? I think but the thing is, the cars are actually like, you know, equally expensive, right? So before they used to be a major bargain, but you know what? I think they're actually similarly priced to the Japanese makers. I've actually owned several Korean cars, and my first one was the 2008 Tiburon. I think. Wait, do they call it Tiburon in America? But yeah, they call it Tuscany over here, right? I mean, a little bit different, and they don't have any of the Hyundai markers, Hyundai badging on the cars. You know what? This car was actually awesome. I actually really enjoyed this car. It didn't have a lot of horsepower. It was like 140 horses. I had it in a 5-seat manual, not even six, but it was actually really fun. The car I got after was the Genesis Coupe in a 6-speed. This car definitely had more power. It was like 220 ponies, but you know what? I never actually liked it, right? If I recall back to what car I like, what Korean car I like, I always think about the Tiburon. It was way more fun, right? Although it had less power. It was small. The Genesis was just too big, right? Too big, and the gearbox was not great. It looked good though. A lot of compliments on looks, right? And afterwards, I briefly had an I-30. I believe this was designed in Europe. And you know what? This car was solid. It was fully loaded, right? I got a great deal on it because it was like a company car. It had like less than 3,000 miles. I had it for like 8 months. It was a great car, but we couldn't handle a second car, so we got rid of it. And the last Korean car I had was a Elantra Sport. That's what they call it in America, but they call it Avante Sport over here, in a 6-speed manual. And this car was actually very, I was actually surprised. I didn't expect much. I was expecting a Econobox, but this car was pretty fun. Only real bad thing though about this car was that it had horrible torque steer, right? I mean, it would just go in any direction in the rain, and I didn't like that at all. But everything else was really good. I think the best feature about the Elantra was the 6-speed manual. I mean, the gear shifts were so crisp. I've never been in a manual transmission car that had such nice gear shifts. Anyways, back to the Sonata. So, Sonata styling, I think after, I forgot what year, 2006 or 7, where they made radical changes, has been very polarizing, right? And then they muted it down because it was so polarizing. But with this new model, new 2020 design, they just went crazy. I mean, crazy with the lighting, right? The exterior styling, I'm not sure if I like it or not. I mean, the 2009 model or 10 model that came out in the States, that looked amazing, right? I really liked it. I know some people really hated it, but with this one, I can't make heads or tails out of it. I really don't know what to say. It looks modern, has a lot of LEDs everywhere, right? As far as exterior styling goes, it looks sleek, but I'm just not sure what they're going for, right? I mean, when you see a BMW, you know it's a BMW. When you see an Audi, you know it's an Audi. But with Hyundais, I just don't think they found their mojo or they found their spot yet. Because every couple of years, it just looks like a radically different car. Um, as far as tech goes, it's, it has everything. This model at the Motor Studio was a hybrid, and it was fully decked out. I don't know what the price was, but the car had everything, right? And it was actually really, really quality materials. It had really quality materials. The leather was nice. The plastic was all soft plastic. Screens everywhere. It was pretty decked out. I would actually consider buying this car if it wasn't for front wheel drive and the fact that it has like 160 horsepower, right? It even had a Bose stereo. I didn't know they're doing a thing with Bose. I guess that's pretty new. I personally like Bose. I know people, rag on it a lot, saying that it doesn't sound good. But you know what? For a $500 option, I think Bose is fine, right? In terms of tech, had everything. I'm starting to sound like an old man because I really don't like all this digitization of the clusters. I mean, why can't we have analog clusters, right? The digital cluster seems to do too many things, right? I don't know what to focus on. And another thing that really, really irked me about this car, I mean, everything was great except the shift selector or gear lever or the lack of a gear lever. Like, why do we have to have park drive buttons? It seems so silly, right? And I know some celebrity died because of this, because he thought he parked the car but it was actually neutral and it just rolled over on him, right? It's just a bad idea. This and smart keys, like, smart keys so stupid. Anyways, I haven't driven the car yet, but I've driven the older Sonatas, and you know what? They really felt like rent-a-cars. And I'm sure, this one feels all luxurious because it is decked out, which means it's probably priced around $35,000, $40,000. But as far as styling goes, the interior looks very, very modern and sophisticated. I think it's a cabin that you would actually like spending time in. As opposed to the exterior, I really don't, to be honest. With the exterior, I really don't know what to say, right? It just looks crazy.